My hero to me. Like, you already know, every time I see you, I always tell her that all the time, because it takes courage to even explain what took place with you, but it also take more courage to also stand up and be strong, not to allow yourself to become emotionally deranged because of it. A lot of women who go through this particular situation, they end up losing their mind. They end up going what people quote unquote would say crazy. So for me personally, it's like you're very courageous. And I think with the brother, when you was asking the question for her, for me personally, being an educator as well as studying psychology, it's therapeutic for you to express what you're expressing, because if you internalize trauma, it's a known fact from a medical perspective that it could affect your organs. It could affect your heart, your liver, your kidneys, all the other organs. So for me personally, I think that for you to express what you're expressing, there's a lot of women who are afraid to express what you're expressing. You can read the book Precious, watch the movie, that's a true story as well. But she was abused by her mother, but you know, in the situation.
Are you advertising Precious?
Huh?
During my time.
You know, so in terms of just, you know, the whole story of what you're talking about, I think that you are speaking for a lot of women that don't have the courage nor the, how can I say this, the strength to speak about their own story. So I think that you're a hero for many and also a hero for men, because like when I first heard this story, I was like, whoa! I just was going through your book about a couple of minutes ago. I was about to start crying. I'm not an emotional person. I'm like, whoa! Like, so I just thank you for having the courage to speak about your story.
Who's next?
Okay, from your introduction, there was your mother, right?
Yes.
Your mother, then there was another girlfriend involved.
Well, my father was polygamous, or he considered himself polygamous, so there was multiple women throughout.
Multiple women, yeah? So, with all these women there, did he ever show remorse, or he didn't care?
He didn't care. He thought he was untouchable, and to a certain degree he was, because of the control that he had over a small group of people. Our family was pretty large, so that empowered him. And then his public persona, how the public received him and how the community received him, they looked up to him. He had people, men, women that followed him, and then the women flocked. So he was able to do these horrible things, get away with it, and he felt like he could just go further and further.
For me reading the book, I've read the book more than 20 times. More than 20 times. I find it very hard to go to each and every chapter, especially chapter 12, 13, those ones.
Yeah,
I'm very sensitive. But with that stuff going on in the house, you know, there's an incident in the book about the chair and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
No one was there to help, is that right?
No. I didn't have an ally in my mother, because at some point she saw me as the other woman. She did not see me as her daughter anymore. I took her husband. And she felt like, even though there were other women that he had relationships with, and you know, she experienced him being started off being unfaithful with her, then he introduced her into this lifestyle of polygamy. For me, she felt like she couldn't compete, because when I was a child, she was a grown woman. So whatever appeal that he had from a child, whatever sexual attraction that he had for a child, she couldn't compete with that, because she was grown. At the same time, I was his daughter. I was her daughter. So she started to become jealous. And then even when I started having children, she was jealous of my children. So I had no ally in her. If I would confide in her, she would tell him, which then would make my life worse. And she had her own tendencies of how to punish me for certain things. And so, I mean, currently now today, we have worked through a lot of those things, and we have a very close relationship now. She's very remorseful, but like I said earlier, she's not forgiving herself for what happened.
I think Pop had a question.
By you reading the book, did it do anything bring you in a couple of your how do you feel about
Did it bring me closer to him? No. didn't do any good for him.
Learn from him, or did you learn from him?
I believe, I was on the Katie Couric show in 2013, and at the time when they approached him for a statement, he said he was still denying doing what he did, and that he was still looking to appeal. He was still looking to file an appeal. So I don't believe he really thinks what he did was wrong. And then what I know of him, you know, he doesn't think what he did was wrong.
Have you forgiven him?
Have I forgiven him? Yes, I've forgiven him. Yeah. Forgiveness.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
What book is that called?
It's called Unashamed, A Life Tainted. Say it again.
Why? Who?
Oh, Aziza Habibi. Me.
Aziza
Yeah.
Habibi.
Yes.
I would say this though, and it's deep that he made that question. I mean, sexism and misogyny is real in this country and even in the world. So I think that a lot of times, like, people don't say nothing because it's like abuse has become normalized in America. And I think that by you telling your story, for me personally as a man, it made me more compassionate. You know, because even as a man, sometimes we get very aggressive with women at times. Sometimes we say things in a very aggressive manner. So for me personally, as a man, I'm very sensitive, always been, but even extra sensitive on how I engage even in conversations with women based upon their story. So I just think that men need to be more compassionate in terms of how we engage with women, in terms of how we talk to women, and then when you're dealing with religion, because we masculize God concepts, sometimes men walk around as if they got a God complex. And I think,
Well, and I think that's what my father had. He had a God complex because he was getting away with so much. He ended up telling us that he was Jesus Christ reincarnated.
And how's about that Obama plan?
I just feel my book, I'm just saying, I understand what you're doing. It's good that you open up to the people to help with other women to come out and say what's on your mind and get this thing off your chest. But I just feel like it's not for the world to know. Certain things you go do, to do with an organization, like dealing with some people like women's shelter or somewhere should be better to tell that part about your family. So what go on in the family like that, should not be open to
Well,
the world.
I don't want to make this forum a debate. You know, we can agree to disagree at this time. But to comment on that, specifically with sex crimes, women are made to feel ashamed. This is why my book is titled Unashamed. We're made to feel like it is our fault why certain things have happened to us. You know, a woman is raped in an alley after she leaves her clothes because her skirt was too short. And as a child, abusers use that. Abusers put the responsibility on children that they are asking for this attention. That is what my father did to me. That's what he did to my sisters. That's what he did to my mother. He made it seem like we were doing this ourselves, and we were doing it to ourselves, and we were causing him to do what he was doing to us. So your perspective to say that it should be something that is kept quiet or be dealt with in silence, that is the exact thing that abusers use. They victimize somebody. They keep them shameful. Therefore, they're not strong enough not to only talk about it to someone else, even if it is a sister or a teacher or an aunt or an uncle, but obviously to not talk about it to a person of an authority, to talk about it to the police, to talk about it at a women's shelter, as you had said. So, yes, maybe I have taken the extreme on just blatantly saying it out loud, but I think that it serves as an example to get another woman that is also a survivor or a victim to be able to say, okay, well, if she can do this to complete strangers that she doesn't know, then maybe I can tell, someone else. Maybe I can tell my neighbor or whatever. Yeah, but
I'm learning. I'm just, I'm a pastor. I'm just want to find some things.
Yeah, okay. Well, then you know about about testimony?
Exactly.
I learned more about the giving and more, but you know, I'm saying why they had the agency for women to tell what happened in life and they were holding in so much and it hurt them. And it's good for someone to come out to open up to the women for them to come out.
Right.
But I'm just saying certain things that I just thought we keep in, you know, keep on the inside for people, other people. That's why they have the uptake for women, like the beat for the women that get beat up on a man. You know, just go and talk, sit down and talk to people. Because the Bible said that you got to learn to forget. That's why
Pastor, just to, okay.
Can you just speak up so everybody can hear you?
Learn more about with this same concept in this book. I'm in law enforcement. I have men who have just done the same thing, who read the same book from I give them the book. I had a gentleman who was abusing his two boys from the age of 1 to a point where they were 31 until they read this book. He bought an apartment somewhere else for them, and he was still abusing them until they got this book.
Sexual abuse?
The same thing that she went through.
Wow.
So this book is not just for females like you said.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm not going to say you're wrong, no. But maybe you need to buy the book. Maybe you need to buy the book to understand the book. She did. Okay, all right, good. So if she did, I don't know where you're projecting your questions from. But if no,
She's doing good.
I definitely appreciate his question because it allows me.
no, I'm not taking
She's doing a good
no,
job.
Pastor, no, because if you read this book, then you know that you can preach about this book.
Okay, but we're doing a good job. She's doing a good job. And you got it wrong.
No, Pastor.
I'm just doing a good job. I'm just saying it's right to go on to make him suffer. You know what I'm saying? But didn't make him suffer.
Well, he needed to suffer for what he did. He needed to suffer what he
We
did.
got to learn to forgive people.
Well, she is
We don't have to fool with no more.
she is forgiven, but the thing is, this man became not only like for instance, like he violated her, but only did he violate her, he violated her sisters as well. And then he also violated other women as well as her mother as well. So it's a continuation of abuse. So she's forgiven, but she's not forgetting. She's telling her story.
Who am I making this out to? Yolanda.
And then even in the church, I want to say this, in the church is happening, where priests are violating little boys, and they're not saying nothing about it, where priests are violating little boys. So as a person of the cloth, you should buy the book and share it with your congregation, and try to do some healing inside even the church.
Like I said,
And more men need to speak out against
I
it.
say that, even reading this book, I introduced to my body, my agency.
Matter of fact, this weekend
it's
I
like
went
for
to Harlem. And they
29
had
years.